My Lords, I know that many on the Labour benches don't want to hear this, but this government is actually more authoritarian than the last. Not only has the Labour government accepted all the draconian laws of the Conservative government, it actually continues to add to them. Now, how many times in the previous 14 years, I've only been here 12, but in the past 14 years, the Labour benches did speak against laws clamping down on protests, but now they're supporting them and even defending and adding to them. The values of liberty and democracy, a passionate defence of the right to protest, it all sounded great in opposition. So why did Labour drop them when they came into power? The desire to squash effective protest is the aim of this legislation. Of course, governments don't mind if protest changes nothing. The bulk of laws in recent years have been aimed at the kind of non-violent direct action protests that stop big corporations from, for example, setting up damaging fracking wells in our countryside, or supported people trying to stop an ancient woodland being cut down to build a new destructive road. A lot of those protests were successful and led to policy changes either locally or nationally, like the direct action protests a few years ago actually led to the passing of the Climate Emergency Act. The oil and gas industry don't like countries switching to renewables, to insulation and net zero, so they paid a think tank to come up with the laws clamping down on effective protest, which the last government passed and this government has kept. That's why we need to enshrine a legal right to protest, and I intend to bring an amendment to that effect. I spent 12 years in this House warning about this country being on the path towards a big brother state, a combination of laws against effective protest while using digital ID will enable a future government to carry out repression with a biometric link. The police are already using facial recognition without any proper regulation or legal restraints. With the proposed rules against face covering and the rollout of digital ID, just being seen on a protest against a future government could see you losing promotion or your job or state benefits. It's already happened to dissenters in Hong Kong and other repressive countries. The government can blacklist you, just like the UK building industry did to trade unionists in conjunction with the police. We have to allow people to disrupt, make a noise, get noticed. That's democracy. The police, of course, should be able to arrest for serious infringements, and people should still face legal consequences, but not the very severe punishments of recent years that labels protesters as terrorists. The prescription of Palestine action was another nail in the coffin of democracy and dissent. The new powers for the police to ban repeated protests is the state trying to shut down the people who are putting a spotlight on the government's complicity in the genocide in Gaza. After all, when you're supplying military intelligence to Israel and exporting arms to a country that wants to ethnically cleanse people from a land that you want to settle, those are actions which could land you in an international court. My noble friend Baroness Bennett, who can't be here today, will engage on the issue of travellers' rights and abortion law at a later stage. So I just have a few questions for the Minister to answer. I'll cram in as many as I can. Do you suspect that the prescription of Palestine action has discredited the use of anti-terror laws? Will the government look instead at the case for prescribing members of the Israeli Defence Force living in or visiting this country? These are people who've taken part in potential war crimes, who've murdered and terrorised thousands of women and children in Gaza. And finally, does the Minister really feel it's a priority for the police and security services to waste their time enforcing this unpopular and largely pointless prescription when they have real terrorists to track down?